WrestleMania 36 is not happening in Tampa. AEW Double or Nothing is very questionable. Dynamite, Raw, SmackDown, all these events, a lot of things are hitting the wrestling world, and we're going to talk about it right here, right now on DPW. Trust me, you're going to want to watch this entire video.
You have arrived at your destination.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ango at Tango with Ango on Twitter and Instagram, and quite honestly, this is probably the most weirdest time, honestly, making a video in general. I feel like this is really crazy. I don't want to get demonetized, but I think everybody here pretty much knows what's going on with something that's being spread around the world. It's a global pandemic, and YouTube's really weird about this kind of thing. So if I keep saying it, I guess I get demonetized or something. I don't know. But the reason why I don't want to get demonetized is because I want this video to reach as many people as possible and just have a serious conversation about what's happening in this world today that is affecting our community, as in the wrestling world. So if you guys didn't know, last week NXT and SmackDown had taken place at the Performance Center. Tonight's episode of Raw is also taking place at the Performance Center. And breaking news, according to WWE.com, WrestleMania 36 is taking place at the Performance Center. Again, empty arena, show after show, empty arena. And there's a lot of mixed feedback from social media. And I actually have a lot of reasons as to why this is happening. So again, you guys want to watch this entire video because I'm going to drop some facts and some knowledge. And I think you guys will start to understand why when I mention these things. But of course, starting with WWE, this has been a very, very hard concept to wrap my head around. You know, an empty arena filled with nobody, but the show goes on. It's as if they're talking to the world, and it's commendable. When you look at what WWE is doing at a time like this, where everybody is just kind of freaking out, panicking, having anxiety about this type of stuff that's actually happening. People are buying a shit ton of toilet paper out there in the world. WWE and AEW fully, they're fully involved in trying to provide content to people. Now, as you guys know, the NBA, NFL, NHL, UFC, whole bunch of events have been canceled. And because of that, sports is not really a thing in the household right now, unless you're watching classic stuff. WWE and AEW are producing weekly content, but they can't do it in any arenas because the government in the United States has pretty much made it clear that social gatherings, including more than 10 people, will be prohibited. So it's been very, very interesting. And WrestleMania 36, I kind of want to start with that. Why is it taking place at the Performance Center? Why didn't it get postponed? And I want to start off with this because I think I think a lot of people need to understand really what's at stake with WWE. WrestleMania 36 is being canceled because the city of Tampa, the state of Florida, will not allow this event to go on. They're not going to allow it to go on, especially when you consider that there's like 60, 70, 80, 90,000 people who are probably slated to be at this event. Now, you just can't postpone an event of this nature. One, you have the event in the city and everything financially set for that date. Granted, with a pandemic like this going around the world, you really can't plan around that because, one, we don't know when this stuff will actually be solved. That's the first thing. You don't know when this pandemic will go away, if it ever does. And two, how can you plan for another day when people have already booked their flights and everything like that? You got to think there's a huge risk. It's an international event. WrestleMania is the biggest mainstream event that we have ever seen. And I think because of how big it is, I think it's not fair to the people who, if they try to reschedule it, maybe they can't get the time off. Maybe there's international travel restrictions, whatever it may be. WrestleMania has always been a thing for the people. And I think that's kind of the reason why you can't postpone it. So then the other question that people are asking is, how can WrestleMania 36 be pulled off in a empty arena? In this case, the Performance Center. And I don't think WWE is doing this in the sense of money, because quite honestly, I think WWE is going to lose a lot of money, especially when it comes to merchandising, when it comes to the state of Florida. I mean, we all know how much money WrestleMania generates for the state that it's in. When I was there in New Orleans made a lot of money because of WrestleMania. So financially, them canceling the stadium show it doesn't make sense for them financially. I feel like there's going to be a big hit financially. But what this allows WWE to do, it really allows them to shine bright in the sense of PR. And I kind of want to dive into this for a second. Just a few days after 9/11, WWE was live on SmackDown. Vince McMahon gave a very, very big, America fulfilled promo. Like, he cut a promo that was very, very driven towards the American people. The people, I think it was in Texas is when the show happened. So it was a very, very big babyface promo. And obviously it was just a few days after a terrorist attack. WWE has kind of been there for almost everything. They never really cancel their shows, and I can't recall the last time it's ever actually happened. The show always goes on. That's kind of the word that's being said. So with WWE at a time like this, especially when NBA, NHL, UFC, and the world's biggest attractions, not just music, not just sports, but pretty much anything. Soccer at this point, a lot of the tournaments and stuff have been called off. Between all these events, WWE is a global giant who is basically going to be there for people in the sense of the entertainment world. So for people who haven't had any sports available to them, WrestleMania will be there. And this is, from a PR standpoint, WWE is going to be, it's already such a big global phenomenon, but when all these other companies couldn't have a strategy in place to have the show continue, WWE was there with a solution. I'm not CNN. I'm not Fox. I don't know a lot about what's going on in the sense of this pandemic. Like, I know obviously it's serious. A lot of states have different rules. Some people living in New York, some people living in Michigan or California, whatever, they're all starting to see something different happen within their states. So the reason why I bring this up is because travel for some places may not be allowed versus other places. So that's another reason why you can't just simply keep it in a, shorter or smaller venue. So WrestleMania 36 is going to happen on an empty arena. But I think it's important for people to know that this is an opportunity for WWE to kind of change the way people think for a couple hours. I think whether the show is 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever it may be, I think WWE not having the crowd there, I think it's going to allow them to really focus on the in-ring stuff. And I think it's going to allow WWE to really take people's minds away from the real world struggles that are happening right now. And that's important to WWE. That's why they do it on SmackDown. That's why they're doing it on Raw. And that kind of leads us to AEW. So AEW hasn't announced anything just yet, other than the fact that these events have been postponed for later in the year. Double or Nothing has no confirmation. I'm speaking to a couple people within the industry to find some answers about Double or Nothing, because I have that booked. And quite honestly, I don't know if I want to be there. But the reason why I bring up AEW is because they haven't disclosed the location for Dynamite. And it is being said that AEW may be going live from the Nightmare Factory, which is like the new training facility from Cody Rhodes. It's not as glamorous as the Performance Center. I think WWE showed when they put on SmackDown, it was a very high quality production. The Nightmare Factory may or may not have that same level of production quality, but they still want to put on a product, and I think that is incredible. Fans are upset about both of these decisions. Some people have already booked their trips to Florida, and obviously the indie companies that are around there, people celebrate the entire week. It is a very, very strange time, but that's why I bring this stuff up. The show, if you postpone it, it's too much of an issue for people to get there at a later date. If Double or Nothing is moved to another time or another date, I don't know if I can make it. What worked out for me was Memorial Day weekend, and I knew it worked out for me because last year it was available. Now it may not be the same case. And obviously we don't know what other sort of government restrictions may be placed. There's a lot of things that are possibly on the table. And again, like I said, I'm not CNN or Fox. And even though I kind of know what's going on and I pay attention to everything, you got to take things with a little bit of a, open mind. So who knows how long this stuff will last? Who knows if people are going to be in a quarantine? Nobody really knows just yet. But we're starting to see restrictions that are causing problems for the sports world. WWE and AEW are willing to lace up those boots and put on a show regardless. And, if you're a fan and you're not happy with those decisions, honestly, I think there's much more bigger problems to worry about than that. But that's up to you to decide. So I'm very curious to know what you guys think. WrestleMania 36 taking place empty arena at the Performance Center. My idea is this: have fun. make it fun, make the best out of it. And I want to see them do some crazy stuff performance-wise. Undertaker, AJ, I mean, you could have empty matches in the, you could have matches in an empty arena, but I would utilize that space for Falls Count Anywhere. Come up with some sort of gimmick match. Just do something crazy. Just make something cool so it doesn't look empty. That's my idea. So I think if WWE uses like the virtual reality stuff or the augmented reality, I think using that crowd space will just make it look cooler. I think you could do stuff. I think maybe you make the empty crowd space part of the event. Utilize it in some capacity. Just make it look cool. Make it look different. Just so it kind of takes the focus away from the fact that it's an empty arena. And I could see WWE using technology, lighting, resources to make the stuff look cool. So I'm not worried about it being an empty arena. Does it look funny? Yeah, but you know what? Like they said, they're trying to help people live their normal lives in a time where things aren't as normal. So that's what WWE is doing. AEW is following suit. They're doing things a little bit differently as well. And like I said, there's much more bigger problems than that. So very interested to see what happens next. More details, more information coming to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
You have arrived at your destination.